What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Enter the Chat Gaming Podcast, the gaming podcast where we get together every week and talk all things video games. We are on YouTube as well as podcast services, so if you like what you hear today, make sure you check us out there as well. I am Kneeckoh, joined by my co-host Rico, as always. How we doing today, Rico?
You're doing good.
And we have, like I said, we're on podcast services, also on YouTube. Last week's episode, we had issues getting on YouTube. I don't know what the hell was up. It was happening with my main channel as well, where like YouTube just didn't want to upload. Like I would upload like a 10-minute video on my main channel, and it said it was going to take 3 hours. And I was like, this is not how YouTube works. So it's finally up. The YouTube version is. The podcast version has been up for a while. That went up at a normal time. But hopefully everything goes smoothly and this one goes up tomorrow. But, Rico, what the hell have we been playing? Because I don't know about you, but there's so many games right now that I'm, like, overwhelmed. I feel like I'm missing out on everything.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, I'm still trying to beat Kina because this final boss fight is no walking apart. And also we just had Back 4 Blood just came out. I still need to pick up Far Cry 6, which just came out last week. We're just getting absolutely hammered with all these games. But the one I've been sinking the most of my time into is Metroid Dread. It's such a good game. It's such a satisfying game to play, especially when
Stop teasing me.
Get it already.
Okay, that's the issue I'm having. Is there's so many games right now that it's like my money can only go so many places. Because like I'm addicted to Dead by Daylight, so I bought all the killers, and that was like $60 in that game. So I have all the killers in Dead by Daylight. And I was like, okay, so that's going to have to cost... That's a game. I have to cut a game off the list. And I was getting Far Cry. There was no way around it. I got Far Cry. Back 4 Blood is on Game Pass, so I didn't have to spend any money there. So I'm going to play that later. But, yeah, there's just so many games. Metroid is going to happen. I'm going to buy Metroid because it's getting such good reviews, and I'm so excited for it. I just don't want to spend the money right now. That's the biggest thing, because, like, Battlefield... Played the beta. It's phenomenal. I see a lot of people bitching about Battlefield. I loved it. I loved the beta. It felt like Battlefield 4, but when, you know, obviously you got some more gadgets and shit to play with because it's futuristic, but it felt like Battlefield 4, which is my favorite Battlefield. I'm so fucking ready for that game.
Oh yeah, same. Plus it's the beta. If there's anything that seemed like rough or glitchy with it, it's going to be, or I should say should be, fixed by the time it launches.
And we got a month and a half until launch.
Yeah,
like, we got a month and a half.
There's still time. There's still time.
Yeah, and so there's just so much to play. But the problem is, I can't stop playing Dead by Daylight. I'm so hopelessly addicted to that game that it's nuts. Because it's so, like, you get in, you play a match, okay, I lost or I won, GG, go next. And then you just ready up again and keep playing. It's so good.
And it's like, by the time it's like, okay, we'll just get, like, one more match before bedtime. It's actually, like, 2 in the morning.
Well, I've been streaming. Every night I've been streaming. I start around 11:30 midnight, and I usually stream until like 3 in the morning.
I was gonna say, like, I've been going to work at like 5 in the morning lately for the past like week and a half. So I would wake up, get on Twitter, and I would see like I'd wake up at like 3 a.m. and I'd get on Twitter and see like you just tweeted a minute or two ago. I'm just like, how the fuck is he still awake?
It's a problem. I'm addicted. It's so much fun. I love it, but I have hopped into Far Cry. I will say I did hop in. I have not played as much as I wanted to play, but I've also been very busy. Like all weekend, I didn't have time to play video games, which sucked.
Right.
But so I hopped into Far Cry. So far, I'm loving the performances. I'm loving the cast. Giancarlo Esposito, fucking phenomenal villain. I love it. It feels, and this is something that we can talk about this for a second, because I've seen so many people bitching and moaning on Twitter, on social media. It's another Far Cry game. It's just another Far Cry game. I don't care. It's another Far Cry game. There's a reason I'm buying a game called Far Cry 6. Okay? I'm okay with it being the same as the last couple Far Cries. Just give me a different location.
The thing is, you know, like, you got these people bitching saying like, oh, it's just more Far Cry. It's like, that's exactly what we want. But then you also have like, if they changed it up drastically enough to where it doesn't seem like the same game, or then those same people will bitch. Because I'm comparing this to like the fucking Assassin's Creed franchise, how we went from like this like stealth-paced action adventure game to now it's an action RPG type of game, and it's like, it's gonna be the same spiel. If they change it up too drastically, then you're just gonna bitch about that too. So it's like, what do you want?
Exactly. And I don't like where Assassin's Creed is right now. I don't like that style of game. Like, I vastly prefer the old days of like Black Flag, Brotherhood, Revelations. All those are drastically superior, in my opinion, Assassin's Creed games. So, like, for me, giving me more Far Cry makes me happy. Like,
Right.
I'm just happy to get a cool new villain and play more Far Cry. Like that's all it takes for
Yeah,
me.
but
Plus they added, the companions that are really cool in this one. You like got Guapo, the crocodile, and Chorizo, and like all the fucking like companions are super cool. So for me,
I was
I'm really excited to keep going.
I would say I like seeing all the companions and how it's not just an alligator or dog. They all have like their own unique little thing. Like the alligator has alligator or crocodile. I don't know which it is. I can never fucking tell the difference. I never will. Get over it. But it's got a fucking gold tooth. Chorizo's a little handicapped dog, but he doesn't care. He just keeps on trucking along. And then the fucking punk rock rooster that'll jump you in a dark alley.
Yeah, it's just good fun, and I love it. And I don't care that it's the same. Now, I will say, from my experience thus far, they have changed some stuff where, like, the last Far Cry game, you couldn't fucking move without getting attacked by NPCs or animals in the environments. And it was fucking hectic. And I was not as big a fan. I really liked Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. They felt really good. This one feels a lot more like Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4, which I am a big fan of.
Cool.
But it's so far so good. I'm looking forward to getting into it. I did end up getting it on Xbox. I had it pre-ordered for PlayStation, and I was like, I just prefer the Xbox ecosystem, and I doubt they're doing anything fantastic with the DualSense for this game. So I'm just gonna play it where I want to fucking play it. So I was like, hey, I went to GameStop. I was like, hey, can you switch this over to Xbox? And they're like, what we'll do is you can buy the PlayStation 5 and return it, so you still get your like pre-order bonuses. And I was like, cool, that's perfect.
I would say it's always funny with GameStop how it just seems like something that you would think seems so simple. There's always like some sort of like seemingly shady workaround for it. It's like this may seem illegal, but really it's just how you get a different version of a game.
Yeah, it's so weird, but Far Cry's great. I'm really keen on hopping into Back for Blood. I don't know why. I was streaming last night and somebody was like, oh, are you going to play Back for Blood? And I was like, yeah, but doesn't it come out next week? For whatever reason, my brain was still on the fact that we were on last week. And I was like, oh shit, it came out today. And I was like, I got to download that and get that ready to go and get that ready to play, because I have been looking forward to that. It's another spooky game. I'm big on spooky games, so I'm thinking this one's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to hit a right chord for me.
Not just another spooky game, but a somewhat like almost return of a spiritual successor of the Left 4 Dead games, which I think were always phenomenal zombie games, just with how insane it gets.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hopping in. Like I said, our buddy from high school just texted me and asked if I had it, so I'm gonna probably see if we got crossplay. I don't know if it has crossplay.
I checked and it does.
Oh, cool. Okay, perfect. But it's on Game Pass, so anybody that's got Xbox, go download that shit, because it's right there for you.
But if you're on PlayStation, give me your money.
It's $60. $60. That was the crazy thing. Okay, Far Cry is the first physical game I have bought for my Xbox. It's the first game to have graced the disc drive on this Xbox. Everything else is Game Pass. Or I bought digitally when I had my Series S beforehand. Like, I have Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed Valhalla on there.
See, like, that's the thing I'm going to wonder about. Like, whenever I decide to get an Xbox of my own, I'm just wondering, like, am I still gonna like want to get like physical versions of the games just because I like having them, or am I gonna get drawn into the Xbox ecosystem of Game Pass and just get anything that comes on day one Game Pass, just download from there digitally? I have no idea.
For me, I only buy the games physically that aren't on Game Pass, because why would I go spend $60 when I'm already paying for a service that has the game? So like right. Halo, I will have on Game Pass day one. I've got Forza coming, Back for Blood. Like, it saves me so much money just paying my Game Pass subscription.
I feel like I'd only do it for a game where it's like let's say like PlayStation had its own Game Pass, just for conversation's sake. Say it had its own Game Pass, and say that Kingdom Hearts 4 drops day one on the PlayStation Game Pass. You know how I am with the Kingdom Hearts series. If a game like that comes out on Game Pass, I'm still gonna get the physical version of it, just because it's, that's what Kingdom Hearts is to me. It's like, I don't care if I can just download it for free. I want to own it physically.
Yep, and I totally get that for certain games. I totally 100% get that.
Right.
But it's so nice being able to save that money. Like Back for Blood, I would have probably had to set aside like Metroid Dread and not played because I was like, I just don't want to spend the money right now. But because it's on Xbox day one, that is fantastic. But back to Metroid Dread, I've seen so much gameplay and shit on social media. It looks so good. Didn't it already outsell every other Metroid game in the franchise?
Oh yeah, it's already the best selling like Metroid game,
which is fantastic. Honestly, this game looks phenomenal. I'm so ready to get my hands on it,
and I'm kind of glad like the sales are still doing well, because I don't know if you saw on Twitter, like with Kotaku, I guess like people are already like emulating Metroid Dread, and I'm just like, why? You can go out and buy the fucking game right now. It's not a fucking 20-year-old Nintendo game that they never fucking, keep available because they're shit with their entire catalog of games. It's like, oh, too old. If you didn't get it back in 1964, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Just go buy it. Don't fucking play the emulation. Just go buy this game. Support this fucking game so we get more awesome Nintendo stuff. Like, I just can't. It looks so good, and I'm so pissed I don't have it.
Let's put it this way: you still want fucking Metroid Prime 4 to happen? Buy this game.
Yeah, go buy Metroid.
That's how more. Yeah,
show you are interested in Metroid.
Because what shows interest? What shows interest with big companies? Money. They don't care about the reviews. They just want money.
And it looks like I'm thinking this one's I'm gonna play handheld exclusively. Play it all on my Switch Lite. It just looks like a good game for it.
Honestly, you wouldn't be wrong for that, because I watched. I watched Game Ranks before you buy on it, and he said he played like majority of his time in handheld because he felt like that's where it looked best at.
Well, and like the other factor of that is now. There is the Switch OLED that dropped the same fucking day, and I've seen a lot of stuff for that. Now, let's do a little should you buy presentation here, because neither of us have a Switch OLED, right?
No, but we just have basic
as consumers of gaming, we know what the fuck is up with this console, and we can tell you whether or not you need to buy it. Okay, so I think it looks really fucking pretty. I'm seeing a lot of side-by-side pictures and stuff like that of different games, and it looks really, really pretty. I think the new screen is great. There's some stuff with the dock that I like. The fact that it has a built-in LAN port, all that fun stuff. It's all really, really nice, and ultimately, I think this model is going to replace the current base Switch model.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'll slowly work out the base Switch, and we'll have the Switch Lite and the Switch OLED. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Like, not even if they like just hardcore like replace and start keeping more OLED Switches available than normal Switches. But I think it's gonna be something like to where when PlayStation came out with like the PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro, then those were the types of PS4s that you would see like a vast majority of people have, aside from just a base PS4. I think
if you look at Nintendo's history, it'd be like the DSi to the DS.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Transition.
Yeah,
but should you buy it? Here's the big point. Okay, it's a $350 price point, right?
Yeah,
$350 bucks, $50 more than the standard Switch model. There's a couple different factors here. First off, if you don't have a Switch, I could highly recommend the Switch OLED because it's only $50 more, and if you want the one, that does everything, the Switch OLED might be the one for you because, like I said, it's only $50 more bucks. So if you don't have a Switch, I think that's a good call. However, there is some stipulation to that. If you're planning on just playing this fucker handheld, definitely buy the Switch OLED. Buy the Switch OLED because it looks prettier than both the other Switch models available on the market right now. However, if you're just going to play this bad boy in docked mode, I would just say buy the normal Switch.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, the Switch OLED definitely seems more geared towards, like, people who know they're going to spend majority of their time playing it in handheld. Maybe people who do a lot of traveling, or people who just like really don't like playing on the big screens and prefer like the DS, Game Boy eras of games, stuff like that. And the other appeal I could see is maybe for people who play more online stuff. Like maybe you have some puts a lot of time into fighting online matches in Smash Bros. And that LAN port, you could go mighty tasty. Nintendo's online is still shit, but that LAN port could help a little bit.
It could, but at the same time, you could just buy like a $5 dongle, which is what I have on my Switch dock. So at
Right.
the same time, you'd spend $310 and you could get the base Switch with the LAN cable, or you could spend the extra. And I think, aren't they selling the dock separate? Like, isn't it compatible with the old Switch models? I'm fairly
I
certain they're selling the dock separate.
I think they are, which would kind of make sense because it is compatible with the like base Switch. So it would make sense if they sold the dock separate.
On top of that, if you have a Switch already, I don't really think you need to upgrade.
Yeah.
Like, this is like a premium thing. Like, unless you are like a diehard Switch fan, Switch is the only fucking platform you play on, and you play it both ways. You play it docked, you play it handheld, and you want that nicer looking screen. There's really not a big reason to upgrade your Switch. Like, I just recently bought a new Switch for myself because my original Switch was sounded a bit worse for wear. So I got the Mario one way back in like March, and I upgraded my Switch, knowing that a new Switch was likely coming this year. And I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna hold on, especially after they announced it was the OLED. If it was a Switch Pro, I probably would have bought the Switch Pro. But
yeah, I don't
because it's the Switch OLED, I'm just like, yeah, I'm cool with my red Mario Switch. I'm golden with that. So it really comes down to what you're going to be using this thing for, and if you already have a Nintendo Switch. I already have two of the fuckers. I got a Switch Lite and a Switch, so it's like I don't need this thing.
Yeah, but I will say though, if they decide to do a little special collaboration for when Kingdom Hearts drops on that cloud service and drop a Kingdom Hearts Switch, guess where my money's going?
So Kingdom Hearts Switch OLED.
Yeah, that'd be the only way I buy an OLED. But right now, I'm good. I'm content with my like launch Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, and like I said, I've seen the side by side pictures. I've seen all three side by side, and I don't know if it's maybe just the pictures and maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it almost looks like the Switch Lite screen is a little more colorful than the base Switch model too.
Uh, that'd be.
I'm not sure. It could just be my eyes playing tricks on me, but from the pictures that I've seen, it almost looks that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, like obviously, it could be like a lighting thing or like whatever they did to the picture, or it could just be like the Switch Lite is actually built just for handheld, so maybe they kind of like up the visuals or something in terms of the display. Who knows?
Yeah, it's all speculation, pure speculation,
Pure speculation.
but it's sweet. It's a nice new model. Honestly, it's a welcome upgrade to the old Switch, and I think it's gonna be a hot fucking item come Christmas. I think it's going to be a hot item, and it's a great way to just get more people playing Switch. And with the LAN port being added to it, with all the new cloud games that are coming, Dying Light 2, Kingdom Hearts, like that's a great addition. That's a great way to get these next gen games on this old hardware. I really, really think they're making smart moves here.
Yeah, they really are. And then they get this. They have this cloud gaming down pat. You could see a lot of other like good stuff coming to Switch.
Absolutely.
Who knows what the gaming future holds?
Yeah, and I'm gonna get on this. I'm gonna put the tinfoil hat on.
Oh boy.
I still think we're getting a Switch Pro next year or in 2023.
Yeah, I definitely think Nintendo, like they keep denying and they're being hush hush about it, but I do think that they're working on something behind the scenes. They got something.
You constantly hear about developers having access to a 4K Switch model, and that's what they're developing games on. So for me, it's just like, at this point, like, I definitely think that the Switch is just going to keep going, and it's going to be like the new Nintendo 3DS. That's what the Switch Pro is going to end up being, where it's just like, we run games better here, you get 4K when you're docked, you get 60 frames handheld. Like, that's what this next big bad Switch is going to be, and I'm fucking hyped for it.
Now, in terms of big bad, we don't actually want it to be big. I don't want it to be Wii U gamepad size. No. That kind of
I don't think it,
inconvenience a little bit.
yeah, I don't think it'll be that size, but I think it will be larger screen again. I think it'll have its own dock that is not backwards compatible. And I think it's just going to be a larger unit as a whole. And I see it coming in the next year or two. It's going to happen.
It'll definitely be interesting to see because if it were to like actually like put out like 60 frames, hell, even somehow make a Switch that does 4K, you can only imagine like what something would look like in terms of like build and everything because we all know like how when it comes to consoles you see dev kits leak out before a new console gets released and they never look like the final product, but then you see all the specs and stuff and it explains like why they're built the way they are. So it's just a fun little thing to imagine. Is like what would essentially like a PS5 or Xbox Series X Switch would look like.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think it's happening. I think it'll happen sooner than later. I think it's already in the works, and the Switch OLED was just a way to kind of bridge that gap with the price point, where it's going to be like the Switch Pro is going to be like a $450 console. That's my speculation.
The OLED was like done to sort of like somewhat calm the masses because there was that point everybody was getting like rampant and crazy about like the eventual Switch Pro. This was just sort of like calm the crowd a little bit, saying like there's no Switch Pro, there is a new Switch, but it's not a Switch Pro.
Yeah, there was so much. Every week I'd see a new Switch Pro's coming now, Switch Pro's coming, blah 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 video. Like it was kind of getting crazy.
Right.
But yeah, so Nintendo's in a good spot. Metroid's popping, the Switch OLED's real popular. They're in a very good spot. And I'm excited because, we got Pokemon coming. Pokemon's still coming. That I'm so ready for. I think that's the game at this point that I'm most excited for the rest of the year. There's just a lot. There's a lot of good shit happening on Nintendo's side. They still are pissing me off with the N64 stuff, but that's just Nintendo being Nintendo.
Pretty much.
We get Sora next week. And it's in a good place. There's gonna be a lot of fun times to be had on a Switch, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Like Switch could be like I mean it I don't know if it will be, considering they're of course going to have like a bunch of PS5s available for Black Friday, but the Switch in terms of like games and the new OLED could outshine some people, surprise some people in terms of how well they're going to sell during the holidays.
Yeah, I think the Switch will just remain steady because it's such a good console for kids, for families. Like it's just an all-around fantastic unit. Yeah. And I think the sales will just remain positive because they keep putting out bangers like Metroid Dread and doing things like adding Sora to Smash. They put out games that people want to play and can only play on that console, and there's no way that the sales dip in my mind.
Yeah, definitely not. And then even if like not even games for just this year, we also got Pokemon Legends Arceus coming out towards the end of January at the beginning of 2022. So that's gonna curb a lot of people's favors to get a Switch because I want to say it's like the first new like almost like Pokemon spin-off game we've had in quite a while in terms of like a new original idea kind of thing.
There's that. There's Bayonetta 3 next year. There's Splatoon 3 next year. There's a lot of Nintendo stuff. I'm sure I'm sure Gen 9 comes out next year for Pokemon at the end of the year. That's my prediction.
Yeah, for sure.
There's just going to be more and more shit coming.
Yeah, which it's always exciting when we get towards like the eventual release of the next gen of Pokemon, because you always wonders like, ooh, because there's always that excitement of like what kind of Pokemon you're going to get, what are the stars going to be like, what kind of new mechanic is this game going to introduce?
Yeah, what new gimmick?
Yeah, because I don't really know. I mean, they've done Mega Evolution, Z moves, Gigantamaxing. It's like, where could they go from here?
Honestly, at this point, I think I'd rather see them just go back to Megas.
Just no, I was
commit to Megas.
I was gonna say like get real crazy and introduce like Pokemon fusions.
I mean, they kind of already have that. If you look at like Kyurem Black and Kyurem White, or
True.
There's another one I'm thinking, but I can't. My brain isn't working.
There's the So Galio, and then I forget the bat's
Yep.
name from Sun and Moon with
Yep,
Necrozma.
Lunala and Necrozma. So yeah, they've already kind of dabbled in the fusion thing. I don't know that they'll do that on a larger scale. I think like doing it with the legendaries makes the most sense.
I think it would be something similar to Mega Evolutions, to where not every you won't be able to do it with every Pokemon, but there'll be like specific ones you can do it with. I
It's interesting. I honestly just kind of wish they go back to megas. And what I want them to do is do like rather than do the like, oh, Charizard gets another fucking form, do some Pokemon that suck competitively and give them some viability. Make them good with the mega. Because like right now they're so like they even did the same thing with Dynamaxing, where it's like these Pokemon are already good as their base form, but we're gonna give them a Dynamax form because why the fuck not? Like no, go for your Pokemon that is actually useful. Like go give them something that sucks. Give them a Dynamax form that makes them viable. Like the same thing happened. They gave Rillaboom. Rillaboom was so good at its base form, and they're like, here's a Gmax. Here's a Gmax. Rillaboom doesn't ever fucking Gmax. Okay. It's very rare that you're Dynamaxing your Rillaboom. You're just like, okay, here we go. Fake out Grassy Glide, the usual shit. Put it aside. Put it aside. Give somebody else some love, okay?
Right. When it comes to that, I think it mainly comes. They don't even like view it from like, oh, how's this going to affect in competitive? I think they view it a lot from like a popularity standpoint in terms
100%.
In terms
100%.
of picking out like what Pokemon get there, Mega Evolutions,
Absolutely.
Dynamax.
That's why Pikachu got a fucking Dynamax form, Eevee got a Dynamax form, Charizard, all the Kanto starters got one. Like there were some cool ones that they threw in. They weren't that great. Like Kingler got one, and that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Garbodor got one, and like so there's some cool ones, but like, come on, give us something. Give us something.
Yeah, here we are, like like just going nuts over like what the next Pokemon game would be, and here there's haven't been any like even like rumors, leaks, anything like that. This is just being like, we want the next Pokemon game.
I mean, Diamond and Pearl is gonna keep me happy because I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna grind through it, I'm gonna finish out my Pokedex, I'm a shiny hunt, I'll probably play some competitive, and do my own thing. But the nice thing is, okay, I'm gonna take a step aside and I'm gonna talk about my main channel. Small plug, Kneeckoh Gaming. Check me out there if you want to watch me playing Dead by Daylight. But because I've pretty much just set aside Pokemon and quit covering Pokemon on the channel, I can just enjoy Pokemon. Like I can just play it and have fun with it because it's not a fucking chore anymore. Where like before, when I was covering Pokemon, it was like, I need to get content. I need to get a shiny this week because I need a fucking video, and I don't have to do that. I need to make a new team because I need to get a fucking video out. I don't have to do that. I can just play Pokemon and enjoy Pokemon, which I am very happy with. That's beside the point. We kind of went on a little tangent there. We kind of went on a little
bit.
We went off on Nintendo, then you bring up Pokemon, and we both just fucking are all in on it. But another thing I want to talk about, and I saw that this week. Jim Ryan had a little interview. And he had a little interview, and he said he was kind of unhappy with the state of the PlayStation exclusives, and he wants to get the PlayStation exclusives out to more people, so more and more people can play PlayStation games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, from the sounds of that, it seems like and you can kind of tell from some of their recent moves in terms of getting their exclusives on PC. I would be surprised if we see some sort of like big deal happen with like some sort of like PC game carrier, like Epic Game Store, for example, just tossing that out there, or maybe even they delve into their own Game Pass soiree. PlayStation Now is looking a little bit better with some of the stuff they're adding, just a little bit better. They just need to work out that ecosystem is all.
I will say, yeah, they've been adding some stuff. Last of Us Part 2 got added, Final Fantasy 7 Remake got added, so they're adding some good stuff. If they just get a little better about their pacing with adding shit to PlayStation, like maybe put it out a month on PlayStation Now after the game drops, so that way you still get your sales, you get all that stuff, and then it's like, you know what, here you go. If you want to play it, it's streaming, because I don't think you download it from PlayStation Now.
No, it's all streaming.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But it's like, here you go. Here, now you can play it. and then make your PlayStation Now work better on PC so you don't have to port it. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? You don't have
Yeah.
to port anything if you just fucking make it stream to PC. I think some do. I'm not positive of the fact, but I'm fairly confident that some do stream to PC right now.
Yeah, I can't remember which ones off the top of my head, but there were like a few that do.
So that would be cool, but I definitely think they're gonna be a lot more heavy with the PC releases, where like they might start coming day and date. Like God of War Ragnarok might be an instant PC release.
Yeah, I can definitely see them getting to the point where like these newer exclusives start dropping day one on PC as well as PlayStation, and then it'll be even a bigger head-to-head battle between PlayStation and Xbox because now they both have their exclusives not only releasing on their individual platforms, but then they'll also be going straight up head-to-head on PC.
And I think that's good. They need
Yeah.
to start doing that because that's what's killing them right now. The availability of Xbox games is so fantastic. Like even before I had my Xbox, before I had it, I was playing, Sea of Thieves and Gears of War on PC. And then I got my Xbox and it all transferred. Like there was no problem. I just downloaded the game on my Xbox and I started playing it. And that right there is what is just dominating for Xbox is you can pick up the game anywhere. Let me tell you a little something, okay? They just added, well, first off, they updated their streaming thing. So now it runs on like the Xbox Series X servers or whatever. It's like, it's supposed to make the cloud gaming experience a hell of a lot better. I have not tested it to see what it was all like, but that's very exciting on its own. So now you can go play it wherever the fuck you want, which is cool. However, I did a little something something. I got my iPad out because they added, this screenplay thing where you can just, kind of like what PlayStation has. You can do it with your PlayStation as well, where you could just log into your Xbox and then play your games on your iPad, and it's fucking awesome. The ability that Xbox has to fucking put their games anywhere is killing it. And right now, they said that now that they've got their Xbox X servers or whatever the fuck they're called running for their xCloud and all that stuff, they're working on a TV app, which I think is genius.
Yeah.
So on your Roku, you can just download fucking Xbox and play Game Pass. Like that is so fucking smart.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason. Like Jake Ryan, he said that in that interview. You can tell he's probably taking notice of that, and you're thinking is like, that's not a half bad idea. So I wouldn't be surprised if like maybe like in the coming like year or two or something like that, we start seeing more coming out of PlayStation in terms of how people can access their games and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just so many good decisions left and right out of Xbox and the way they're getting their games to more people. It's just I would imagine that Sony at some point has to be like, okay, we have to start stealing ideas because it's genius.
Right. Like you could like people always go to head to head about which is better, Xbox or PlayStation. But the point is, like, with the more both these guys like come up with these like new innovative or start doing these new big things, like Xbox coming up with more ways to play their games, or some like features and stuff that PlayStation do on their consoles or their exclusives. It basically pushes both companies to like copy each other, but try and outdo the other. So
And it's good. It's good for games. That's the thing.
Yeah, so like
so many people want to keep doing this battle of which console's better. Who fucking cares? Because at the end of the day, if PlayStation does better, that makes Xbox do better. And if Xbox does better, that makes PlayStation do better and work harder. Nintendo's their own thing because they don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. They do their own goofy shit.
Nintendo's the middle child that's just sort of like playing around in the background saying like, look guys, I got Sora.
Yeah, they're doing their own thing, but like the competition between Sony and Microsoft makes each of those consoles that much better, and it makes gaming as a whole that much better. Who cares which is better? Play games wherever the fuck you want to play. Play them on both. That's what I do. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. But like, it doesn't matter where you're playing your games, because at the end of the day, friendly competition is good for gaming.
Right, like like since Xbox is putting their games on a bunch of different not platforms, but different ways for people to play them, PlayStation might be doing the same. Xbox acknowledged how nuts of controller the DualSense is, and now they might do their own sort of DualSense controller in the future. So like both companies are taking notes from each other and gonna push towards doing their own like versions of what the other is doing, and it's gonna be don't focus on fighting each other, just celebrate, just enjoy all this new stuff we're gonna be getting.
Yes. And I will say, I like when they take ideas from one another. I'm kind of glad they're leaving Nintendo to do their own thing. They're not like making their own version of the Switch, and rather they're just putting out like their shit on handheld. Like I can just play I could play my PlayStation and my Xbox on my iPad in the living room. I don't have to be in my office with my monitors. Like I could do it anywhere in my house, and I really, really like that.
I was gonna say like Xbox and not Nintendo, PlayStation don't even really have to do the Switch because of what you just said. You could just play their games off of your iPad.
No, I'm not saying I want Nintendo to follow suit. I actually really like having my Switch. I like my Switch. I like that it's my dedicated handheld system. Like, there's certain games that I don't even fucking bother touching on Xbox or PlayStation because of their availability on Switch. Like Skyrim, I only play it on my Switch. I only fucking care to play it on Switch because it plays great and it's handheld. I can take it with me. That's fucking phenomenal to me. I love it. But like there's just games that I'm like, okay, this is a handheld game for me. I'm going to play it there. Or even games that I play on Xbox, I have on Switch, like Dead by Daylight. I have it on my Switch cuz it's fun as fuck to play it in bed.
Yeah, I was gonna say with my Switch, I treat it like a little bit differently. I don't play it like as much in handheld unless I go on like some sort of like big trip, and then there's like a game I've been pouring a lot of time into and I want to keep playing it. But other than that, the main thing for my Switch is that I consider it almost like my indie machine, because the amount of indie games and stuff you can access on Switch is just madness. And the glorious thing about indie games, they also, a lot of them also make great handheld games sometimes. First one that comes to mind that I put a lot of time into is Dead Cells. That was a fun as hell game to play on handheld when I was away on vacation. A lot of time I put into that. But
yeah, I'm the same way. I play a lot of my indies on Switch. Like Hades, I put so much time into Hades on Switch. I love it.
Oh yeah, like I'm still kind of tempted to buy Hades on PlayStation, but for now it's still exclusively on my Switch.
It's just, I just love that Nintendo's such a company that they're like, we don't care about power, we don't give a fuck what anybody else is doing. We're gonna do our own thing, and we're gonna make it awesome. Like one of my favorite games from this year was Mario. Wasn't that this year? I think I'm fairly confident. Yes, because it released the same time as the Mario Switch. Was the Mario 3D Land port? Because you got Bowser's Fury with it. Fucking A, was Bowser's Fury fantastic. Loved it with everything in me. It was such a good game. I 100% that bitch. Got all the stars or whatever they were, the cat shines, whatever the fuck they were called. Right. I adored it. So like Nintendo doing their own thing, keep doing it. Keep on trucking. Like Pokemon, you're gonna get a lot of my time, Nintendo. You're gonna get so much of my fucking time because of that.
You're gonna get so much time, and I swear to God, if you come out with any fucking DSD, you're gonna be getting more of my money too.
And I'm telling you right now, if Dead by Daylight gets their shit together and makes cross progression a thing, oh my god, I will play so much fucking Dead by Daylight on my Switch. It'll be unbelievable.
I can already see it.
Same with Apex. Apex, get your shit together so I can play Apex on my Switch without starting over. Get your shit together.
Right. It's like, cross progression, I feel like it's not a hard thing to do, so it's like, why not do it?
The weird thing with cross progression at this point is like the DLC kind of stuff. Right. Or like Fortnite, everything is within Fortnite, right? But like the DLC and what you own in game is kind of weird because like on DBD, you buy the DLC on whatever platform you are on. So like you buy it from Steam or you buy it from Xbox or you buy it from PlayStation. So it's kind of weird about like transferring what properties you actually own.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest issue. Now Apex, you don't have a fucking excuse, okay? Because your DLC's in game. Yeah, you buy that shit in game.
It's no different than Fortnite. Same spiel.
It's the same as Fortnite, but with DBD there is some variability to that one.
I think it's comes down to a licensing, not like licensing, but like a licensing, because when you buy a DLC or game on PlayStation, you buy the license like digitally. You buy the license to play it on that platform. but it doesn't necessarily transfer over to other platforms unless it's
Yeah,
something like similar to Fortnite.
it's kind of funky in that way, especially with DBD, where right now, like, and if anybody here plays DBD and is listening to this plays DBD, go buy the Demogorgon DLC if you don't have it, because that's getting removed from the game. So,
Yeah.
like, with certain licenses, you're losing certain characters. So, in certain instances, I definitely see the whole thing of, like, we can't do cross progression to its fullest because this, that, or the other. But I'm really hoping they get shit ironed out and they just allow it to happen. Just send it to all my consoles. Figure it out. Figure it out.
Yeah, it'll be hard to say of when we'll see something like that happen to where everything's cross progression. You can transfer all your data, all your DLCs to other platforms, and keep your progress. It's hard to say when or if that'll happen because that just takes cooperation from all parties to happen.
It's also a factor of, like, if you look at, like, the thing is with, like, Dead by Daylight. We'll keep using this because it's a good example. Dead by Daylight was around before cross progression, so all their DLCs were platform based, right? You had to buy the DLCs, and it was before Fortnite and everything like that kind of became a thing and made certain things more, like, acceptable. Because, like, in Fortnite, you buy everything with V-Bucks, so everything is bought through them. Everything is bought in that way. Whereas now with DBD, they have an in-game store and you can buy individual characters with that in-game currency. They're called Oryx cells, and you can buy characters with those Oryx cells, but they still have the DLC stuff, which is how I bought all my characters. I bought them all through the Xbox store. So it's like they have to figure out a way to make that all translate, and they haven't yet because of how they've been doing it for so long.
Right. Like I feel like eventually, like they're gonna work something. I can just sort of sense it. Like when it comes to games like these that are just on multiple platforms, and people want to play on all these platforms, but they want to keep their progress. Eventually, they'll find some type of workaround to where you can play on any platform you want. Keep all your DLC, keep your progress. You don't have to worry about starting completely over. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, really.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just such an interesting time in gaming,
Uh-huh.
and it's gonna keep getting worse because Broketober is upon us,
No kidding. Oh god.
and we've got so many games. Back for Blood today, Battlefield. Again, I'm gonna go back to it. It was fun. I had such a good time playing Battlefield.
I just want more. I just
The
want
beta,
more.
the beta was so fun, and I'm so looking forward to that. I think, okay, I'm gonna break it down. We've kind of gone everywhere in this fucking episode, but but like I've played in the beta for all of them, and definitely Battlefield is my favorite of Halo, Call of Duty, and Battlefield. I've played all the betas, and I think Call of Duty's bottom tier. Call of Duty feels like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It's just the new game mode was fun, but like it's just fucking Call of Duty. I don't even know at this point if I'm gonna get it. I talked about getting it, and I'm just like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, do I really give a fuck? Because like I get the Warzone update for free, and that's probably what I'm gonna put most of my time into. So do I really fucking care to get Call of Duty?
The Warzone, and that's if, and big if they're finally, the anti-cheat system they say that's going to come with this game, which is stupid in its own right. It's like, hey, this game's going to have anti-cheat finally. It's like, why couldn't you implement that like fucking 2 games ago?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I don't know. Call of Duty's on the back burner for me. I want to play the campaign, but I don't really know if I care enough to go in and buy it because like nobody's going to play multiplayer. At this point, battle royales are just so fucking popular, and Call of Duty's just so burnt out that it's like, I think I'm just gonna play the Warzone update when that drops and see what it's like, and then probably uninstall Warzone because I fucking hate Warzone, and then move on with my life. Like I'm gonna download it just to check it out and then move on. But Battlefield, I think, will hold my attention simply because of the scale of Battlefield. It was so fun running all over this map and like just taking different objectives, lighting people. I had a great fucking time. Halo's really fun because it's arcadey. I think Halo will hold my attention for that reason. Plus, it's free, and I can get more of my friends into Halo because of the fact they don't have to pay anything.
I was gonna say, I saw one clip on, I think it was TikTok, from the Halo multiplayer beta, and was just this little, like, I think they're called Warhogs, like the military buggy type of things.
Yeah.
It was just driving along, and then something happened to where something blew up, and it just starts launching through the sky, and you think, "Oh shit, that's crazy." But then you see this random motherfucker come out of nowhere with a gravity hammer and smash it in the midair, and to where just explosion in the sky. It's like, what the hell just happened?
I know, it looks so fucking fun. I really hope maybe you are able to snag like a Series S or something by the time Christmas rolls around. By the
I
time we
know.
get Halo, because I would love to hop into some Halo with you. I think we might even be able to convince Reagan to get Halo because it's free and she just has to fucking download it.
I swear, I'm gonna have to figure out a place to like clear out space for an Xbox console, and then I'll have to get a fucking HDMI like switchboard or something, because I got so much shit plugged in.
I'm at that point as well. I'm with you. Oh, my controller's falling. My controller's falling.
Shit's
But yeah,
happening.
and for me personally, I'm kind of over the whole battle royale. Like, I still play a ton of Apex because Apex is just fun and it has arena. So I do hop into arena and play occasionally because it's just a good change of pace. But I miss that like team-based shooter where you don't have to like, because that's the biggest issue is we get these big groups of guys on Xbox and we're like, we can't all fucking play Apex.
Right.
So it's like I miss the days where you could just get in a big ass party and go play like Call of Duty and shit like that.
Just get
So
a
I'm
LAN
really
party together.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back to that with Battlefield and with Halo. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, okay. Like it's definitely way better when you get that like one big group of people to play together.
Yeah. But so all in all, the end of the year is looking pretty good no matter what fucking platform you're playing on. It looks pretty damn good. Obviously, if you're a Sony exclusive fan, you have a little bit less going on, but I would hope that if you're playing PlayStation, you're playing a bit more than the exclusives and playing some of these awesome third-party games that are coming, because there is a fuck ton coming out right now, and you can play them pretty much everywhere. So I think it's a good spot no matter where you're playing games the end of this year. But I think that pretty much covers it. I think we're out of shit to talk about. We didn't really have a topic for this week. We just kind of went on tangents about a bunch of different shit.
This was the ADHD episode, to where our attention just went to like several different places.
100%. But we'll wrap it up. We won't overstay our welcome and just kind of talk about nothingness. So thank you for joining us on the Enter the Chat Gaming Podcast this week. Like I said, again, be sure to check us out on podcast services or on YouTube if you want the video format. And we hope to see you next week. Peace.